Once there was a man who dreamed that he was in a great hall where all the religions of the world were gathered. He realized that each religion had much that seemed desirable and worthy. He met a nice couple who represented the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and asked, "What do you require of your members?" "We do not require anything," they replied, "but the Lord asks that we consecrate all." The couple went on to explain about church callings, home and visiting teaching, full-time missions, weekly family home evenings, temple work, welfare and humanitarian service, and assignments to teach. "Do you pay your people for all the work they do?" the man asked. "Oh no," the couple explained. "They offer their time freely." Also, the couple continued, "Every 6 months, our church members spend a weekend attending or watching 10 hours of general conference." 10 hours of people giving talks, the man wondered. "What about your weekly church services? How long are they?" 3 hours every Sunday." "Oh my," the man said. "Do members of your church actually do what you have said?" "That and more. We haven't even mentioned family history, youth camps, devotionals, scripture study, leadership training, youth activities, early morning seminary, maintaining church buildings, and of course, there is the Lord's Law of Health, the monthly fast to help the poor, and tithing." The man said, "Now I'm confused. Why would anyone want to join such a church?" The couple smiled and said, "We thought you would never ask."
Sisters, I don't want to overpraise you as we do sometimes in Mother's Day talks that make you cringe. You don't have to be perfect. I don't claim that you are, with one possible exception who's sitting nearby at the moment. What I mean to say is that wherever, or whether you're single or married, whether you have born children or not, whether you're old, young, or in between, your moral authority is vital, and that perhaps we've begun to take it and you for granted.
Several years ago, I needed to speak to the wife of one of the bishops in our stake, so I called their home. A young son answered the phone. I said, "Hello, is your mother there?" His reply, "Yes, she is. I'll get her." "Who is this?" My response, "Tell her it's President Nielsen." There was a short pause, and then in a very animated voice, I heard, "Hey, Mom, President Hinckley's on the phone." I can't imagine what she must have been thinking. It had to be the longest walk to the phone she ever had. The thought did cross my mind, should I? I didn't, but we had quite a laugh. Now that I think about it, she must have been so disappointed just talking to me. What would you do if the prophet of the Lord really called you? Well, he has. President Monson, once again this morning, called each one of us to a very important work. He said, "Now is the time for members and missionaries to come together, to work together, to labor in the Lord's vineyard, to bring souls unto him."
We know from our research that most active members of the church want the blessings of the gospel to be part of the lives of others whom they love, even those whom they have never met. But we also know that many members hesitate to do missionary work and share the gospel for two basic reasons. The first one is fear. Many members don't even pray for opportunities to share the gospel, fearing that they might receive divine promptings to do something they think they're not capable of doing.
Most of us, at one time or another, have been in a situation that was new to us, where we felt strange and insecure. This situation happened in our family about 5 years ago, after President Monson extended the call to me to serve as the general authority of the church. This call necessitated our family's move from the beautiful place we had enjoyed for more than 2 decades. My wife and I still remember the instant reaction of our children when they learned about the change. Our 16-year-old son exclaimed, "It is not a problem at all. You may go. I will stay." He then quickly resolved to accompany us and faithfully embraced this new opportunity in his life.
What a beautiful sight that is, to be among you priesthood holders here in the conference center and with all those around the globe. It's an honor and privilege and joy to be counted among you. When I was young, falling and getting up seemed to be one and the same motion. Over the years, however, I have come to the unsettling conclusion that the laws of physics have changed, and not to my advantage. Not long ago, I was skiing with my 12-year-old grandson. We were enjoying our time together when I hit an icy spot and ended up making a glorious crash, landing on a steep slope. I tried every trick to stand up, but I couldn't. I had fallen and I couldn't get up.
So he gave you a story to encourage you. It is a parable for overloaded priesthood holders. We sometimes call it the story of the Good Samaritan, but it is really the story of a great priesthood bearer in these busy, difficult last days. The story is a perfect fit for the overtaxed priesthood servant. Just remember that you are the Samaritan and not the priest or the Levite who passed by, the wounded man.
President Hinckley graciously invited the home teacher to come in and sit down and to instruct 3 apostles and our wives concerning our duty as members. With a bit of trepidation, the home teacher did his best. President Hinckley thanked him for coming, after which he made a hurried exit. I mentioned one more example of the incorrect way to accomplish home teaching. President Marion G. Romney, who was a counselor in the First Presidency some years ago, used to tell about his home teacher, who once went to the Romney home on a cold winter night. He kept his hat in his hand and shifted nervously when invited to sit down and give his message. As he remained standing, he said, "Well, I'll tell you, Brother Romney, it's cold outside, and I left my car engine running so it wouldn't stop. I just came by so I could tell the bishop I'd made my visits." President Ezra Taft Benson, after relating President Romney's experience in a meeting of priesthood holders, then said, "We can do better than that, brethren. Much better." I agree.
My mother lived in New Jersey for 16 years so that my father could support the family by doing research and teaching chemistry. To her, it was a sacrifice being separated from her widowed mother and her unmarried sister who had cared for her in the old family farmhouse. They both died while Mother was far away in New Jersey. Those were the only times I ever saw my mother cry. Years later, my father was offered a job in Utah. He asked my mother, again in all innocence, "Mildred, what do you think I should do?" She said, "Henry, do whatever you think is best." He turned down the offer. The next morning, she wrote him a letter that I wish I still had. I remember that she told him, "Don't open it here, go to the office and open it there." It began with a rebuke. He had promised her years before that if he ever could, he would take her to be near her family. He was surprised by her expression of irritation. He had not remembered the desire of her heart. He immediately sent a message accepting the job offer. He said, "Mildred, why didn't you tell me?" She said, "You were supposed to remember."